What's up, guys? It's that guy with the pencil here, and let's get into it. So, I saw Episode 9, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. And get ready for a hot take, boys. This was the most fun I've ever had watching a Star Wars movie. And let me give you some context before you tear me apart in the comment section. When I say the most fun, I'm not saying it is the best Star Wars film, as a film. I'm saying I had the best time sitting down and watching this film because it was that enjoyable to me. I literally had a blast sitting down and just watching this film go wild. It was a great time. I enjoyed myself. And honestly, I wouldn't even mind rewatching it. And now for some more context, I've admittedly only seen the entire prequel trilogy, all episode 4, part of episode 5, none of episode 6, episode 7, none of parts of episode 8, and all of episode 9, obviously. So, am I a Star Wars fan? Not really. I'm not highly devoted, and I guess that's why this movie doesn't bother me that much, because I don't necessarily care that much. But the thing with this movie is, even if you have a passing idea of Star Wars, or if you have a friend that actually is a Star Wars fan, they'll tell you that this movie does nothing good for Star Wars. And I'm guessing that they're right, because this movie it's like what would happen if you gave someone a loose description of the Force in Star Wars and gave them a cast of characters with some basic plot descriptions and then told them to make a movie. And now you're not giving this movie to any like experienced filmmaker or anything like that, not some high level director. No, you're just giving this to some guy on the street who hasn't really even seen the Star Wars movies. And you just tell them, go ahead, make a film, do whatever you want, go wild. That's literally what this movie is, and it's fantastic for it, because this movie isn't necessarily poorly acted. The visuals necessarily aren't that bad, and even a lot of the abilities that they introduce, I don't necessarily mind. Force healing is a concept, I guess. I don't really care about it. The spoilers, by the way, I guess, if you didn't know that, sorry. Force healing is a concept. I don't really mind. The fact that Rey and Palpatine, Rey is a Palpatine, by the way, yada yada, I'll get into that. The fact that Rey and Palpatine were kind of just the avatars, like the light and dark avatar, as introduced in Korra, I'm fine with. I don't really care. That's actually pretty cool, and it kind of goes along with some stupid theory I came up with, like, oh, well, the less Force users there are, the more Force is going to be concentrated into the remaining Force users, and they'll just get more and more powerful. And I'm kind of right, because now Rey is like the only Jedi, unless something in The Mandalorian happens and Baby Yoda is also a Jedi, and then episode 10 is going to be Rey hunting down Baby Yoda to get the last of that good old Force juice. But yeah, I don't mind that as a concept. And really, I don't even mind the inclusion of all these old characters and stuff like that. Like, and I even like a lot of the new characters, like Babu. Babu is my favorite character. He's great. And when he popped up at the end of the film, went, hey, I was just like, hey, because he was fantastic. I loved Babu. I didn't even mind the new toy that they made. I mean, whatever his name. I literally saw the movie yesterday. I already forgot that droid's name. Dio. That's it. It was Dio. I didn't mind him. He was kind of cool. I didn't even mind the Nebula, because that's what she sounded like to me. I know that actress isn't Karen Gillan. I didn't look up the actress, but I know that isn't, because I was told not. So that actress isn't Karen Gillan, but I got heavy Nebula vibes from the moment she popped up on screen. I liked her as a character. I like how there was some romantic tension between her and Poe. I even like what they did with that there's like this certain batch of stormtroopers that was just messed up from birth, or not messed up from birth. Just dysfunctional, like introducing the fact that Finn most likely has a family, like actual legitimate family, considering he meets whatever her name is, the black girl from the planet that the fallen Death Star is on. That name's not coming to me. I'm sorry, but I even like that because it's nice to just expand the lore. And family is a big thing in Star Wars. I'm not even that much of a fan of Star Wars, but even I know that. And speaking of family, let's talk about Kylo Ren. So Adam Driver is a fantastic actor, and for what he was given, he did a fantastic job acting it. But in reference to the character Kylo Ren, he is the most hilarious thing I've ever seen put to film, and I love him for it, and it's great. And I know there are going to be countless times I'm going to just be doing poses that Adam Driver performs throughout this film. I'm going to stick my finger out. I'm going to throw my hand up and at somebody and expect them to stick to the ceiling. I'm going to reach out at someone and yank their necklace through a different dimension. Okay, admittedly, that is the one force power that they introduced I didn't really care about. Didn't like. And the great thing about all this is that basically Star Wars has reset. And with Kylo Ren's death, and let me get specific. Kylo Ren, I like how Kylo Ren died, technically, because Rey stabbed him with his own defective lightsaber, and that killed Kylo Ren once she healed him, and that just left Ben Solo. And I like how he had a parallel to the scene in Force Awakens where Han is there. I don't know how. I guess Han's a Force ghost now, because Han's a Force ghost, because everything has the Force. I like how he has the lightsaber in his hand, and like he could just turn it on and stab Han right then and there, just like he did in the past. But instead, he looks at his father, realizes what he has to do, turns around, and throws it into the ocean. That's nice. That's good. That's good character conclusion, at least in my view. Like, that's good. I enjoyed that. The fact that Kylo Ren died, I'm kind of like, I guess you can do that. So yeah, I feel like Kylo was one of the only characters that had like a through line throughout the entire trilogy. Like, he started off, he was bouncing back and forth a lot. He wanted to be good, but then he turned out evil. Then he thought about being good. Then he wanted to turn Rey over to the dark side. Then he decided that no, he's not on the dark side anymore. He's a Jedi, but he's not really a Jedi because yada yada yada. Balance, imbalance. That was nice. Rey, Daisy Ridley, actually, she acted really well throughout this one. Like, she did what she had to do. That was good. What they did with Rey the character, I'm kind of indifferent to. The fact that she's a Palpatine I don't really care. I mean, it works in the sense that it continues like the theme of family in terms of Star Wars, because like she's directly related to Palpatine. That's her grandfather, and that's kind of nice. It makes Reylo a little bit weird because like technically Palpatine is Anakin's dad, and Anakin is Kylo's grandfather, but we won't even go into that. But yeah, what they did with Rey making her this all-powerful Palpatine, it's okay. I don't really mind. You feel like she would be connected to the dark side of the Force more so, though, in comparison to, like, the people that were raised by Jedi, like Anakin and stuff like that. You think, especially since she's a direct descendant of Palpatine, not even, like, a Force creation. But I don't really mind. The fact that she is now the most powerful being in the entire universe, I don't really care. Just because I don't have the necessary investment in the series to really care about stuff like that. I like how they did it. I like how, in a sense, she is literally just perfectly balanced. Because the whole point, unless Palpatine was lying, which I doubt he was, when he said Rey would become like the harbinger or like the container for all the Sith, since all the Sith live in him, if she killed him, I feel like her being already a container for all the previous Jedi, and now becoming a container for all the previous Sith, and now her lightsaber being yellow, not red or blue, that's a nice way to illustrate balance. Like, she is the middle ground now. She contains everything. So, I kind of like where they went with that. I know it doesn't make sense in Star Wars lore and stuff like that, and it's basically the Avatar, and everyone has problems with it. But as a person who isn't fully invested in Star Wars, I just found it kind of cool. For problems with this film, obviously the plot is a bit messy, the characters are a bit messy, the entire film's a bit messy, but otherwise than that, I'd say it's acted pretty good. I'd say the visuals are, as usual in this new trilogy, the visuals are fantastic. The only time the visuals ever jacked me up was when they had to like do the age reversing CGI. And for some reason, at the end on Tatooine, Like when Rey flew into Tatooine, that kind of just it jacked me up a bit. I was just looking at it like something's wrong here, and I don't know exactly what it is. But it went by quick enough. And for as much CGI as they obviously had to do with this movie, it honestly looks good. And I think there were a lot more practical effects in this one, which is impressive. So I'd say the visuals, the acting's pretty good. It's just that the characters and the plot and the consistency of the universe, that's all messy. And if you're a true, like, I'm entrenched in the lore, I read every extended universe thing, and this hurts to watch, I'm sorry. But it doesn't affect me in that way. And I feel like what they did in expanding everything was that they actually reset. Like, they've reset the entire Star Wars universe. Is there going to be an episode 10? Probably. For money. There's probably going to be a whole new trilogy, episode 10, or like a continuation. Do I want it? No, not really. Because I kind of like how it kind of all went full circle. Because I don't know much about Star Wars, but I think there was like an original Jedi and Sith or something like that. Or like there was just one person that had all the Force. And I like how, if that's the true thing, like it all came back to one person. It's all in Rey now. And she's starting over. So I like where the series has kind of turned around and re-centralized itself. Could this be a start of a new beginning? Yes. Do I want to be a start of a new beginning? No. But for what this film is, is it a good piece of film? Not necessarily. Its plot's messed up. It's everything, like structurally wise about this film is pretty wrong. However, in every other aspect, I still give this film, like this film is a 9 out of 10 in terms of entertainment value. This film never bored me. It annoyed me. Like C-3PO annoyed me a lot in this film. However, that was on purpose, and I know it's funny to some people, but this film never actively bored me. Like, I just recently watched all the prequel trilogy, and I legitimately was bored throughout a majority of it, except for when the meme lines came up. I can confidently say that episode 9 never bored me. It entertained me the entire time. Did it mean it entertained me in the right ways? Probably not. I only laughed. At one of the intentional jokes, I laughed. Or maybe 2 of them. But I found myself laughing a lot throughout this film. Because it's nice to watch this. Like, if you go in with a critical perspective, if you want to tear this movie apart, you can. Me not being a Star Wars fan, I could make a 30-minute, hour-long analysis on how this film deconstructs and tears apart the Star Wars universe entirely, and it's bad, and yada yada yada. But since I'm a guy who likes to be entertained in films, especially in films where I know I'm not expecting some like deep, riveting character study or deep, riveting tale, I'm perfectly fine with it. If you want to go see it, if you saw the trailers and you had a passing interest in the film, if you wonder if you're going to be entertained for like 2 hours and 30 minutes, yes, you're going to be entertained the entire time. You're going to be laughing your head off. Yes. If you're looking for a satisfying conclusion to the 30-year-long franchise known as Star Wars, look somewhere else. Maybe just act like the prequels and the prequels and the sequel trilogy never happened. Then you got your like satisfying ending. So if I had to like rate this film, like I said, entertainment value 9 out of 10, if not 9.5 out of 10. I had a blast watching this movie. However, in terms of like an actual film, I'd say like this film is beautiful, it's acted well, and I like the concepts they introduced. They just don't work in terms of the universe. So as a film, I give it like a 5 or 6. Like a lot of the points that drop off in like an actual critical rating mainly come from how it does a lot of things without ever explaining why, or breaks a lot of rules without ever giving a reason why. So it's really a toss-up. If you want, like I said, if you want to just stare at a screen for 2.5 hours and just have fun, yes, go see this movie. Go see this movie with a friend. If you have a Star Wars fan friend, see it with them, because that makes it even better. Because them losing their mind throughout the entire thing is hilarious. Trust me, I know from personal experience. But if you want to see a good piece of film, wait. Or go watch something else. I think Knives Out is still playing. I heard that's really good. I haven't seen it. But yes, go watch Knives Out if you want a good, actual, proper piece of film. So, This is that guy with the pencil rambling about Star Wars Episode 9, and I am writing off.